We're good. We're good now.
Okay. All right, yes. We are live, and as we try to figure out how to share this technology and all this kind of stuff, it's been one of those days, folks, where everything that I had tested and perfected all morning long went to hell in a handbag this afternoon. So that's all right. We got a bottle of wine. Everything is going to be better in a little bit. Hey, and we all have volume, too, on our phones. Yeah. It hasn't come up on my phone yet, so, you know, I'm technology hindered. What can I say? Anyway, welcome to the Whine No Wine Show. We're going to have a great time. This is the show where you can be friended and offended all in the same hour. You know what? I look at America like a little kid who is throwing a tantrum and needs to have his bottom spanked and be put in the corner for a minute.
True. True.
Because we have completely lost our ability to disagree like civil adults. It's always got to resolve to name calling and everything else, and I'm tired of it. So what do? I come up with a show where we can disagree about everything, have a great time doing it, enjoy a good glass of wine, be friends when it's all over with. How you like that? So, we're going to jump in. I'm going to let everybody just kind of introduce themselves, say hello. If you want to give a shameless plug for your business, that's all good too. I don't care. There are no rules. Well, there are some rules, but you know, it's all right. That one's good. So, without any further ado, we're going to jump in. Introduce yourself, Carmelo.
Hey guys, my name is Carmelo Pieri. I'm with Evergreen's Housing Initiative, and we provide mental health housing for the mental health community.
Wow, he's looking for clients on the show today.
I think I got one.
I got a nibble.
There's Joe Orson right there.
Yeah, yes. I don't want to meet my friend.
Imaginary.
Huh?
Imaginary.
Yes, my imaginary friend.
This is
That's
my
right.
imaginary friend.
Steve, go ahead and introduce yourself.
All right. Well, I'm Steve Williams, and this is my 4th week on the show. And I don't know. I was thinking, am I kind of considered the raisin of the group now instead of the
group. The raisin.
I saw that. What does that mean?
Yeah, grape heads.
Well, we're grape heads now.
That's right. Once you're on the show, if you watch the show, you're grape heads.
Okay.
That's our thing.
Okay, got it.
I don't want to be a great man.
Too late.
Why not?
You have to be.
Yes.
Oh, man.
Yes.
It's okay, Bobby.
Ricky Bobby.
Yeah, there you go.
All right, introduce yourself, Bobby.
My name is Bobby Bryant. Actually, I own a real estate technology company by the name of DOS. Guys, yeah, shameless plug. We have an actual networking event next Tuesday evening. Starts at 6 o'clock at 1919 Whine and Mixology. Come hang out. Come learn more about DOS, how we can increase your bottom line and save you time.
Absolutely. Great shameless plug, thank you. Support our local superheroes in the business world here. These guys are rock stars, that's why they're on the show, and because they're generally cool people. We'll see how it goes after I get them liquored up.
That's a good idea.
Today,
you're going to pour 5 of these, right?
That's right.
Well, then Bobby gets one, right?
He's going to get some, sure.
Yeah,
I've outgrown peer pressure. So.
Yes!
Yeah, I've outgrown
Oh, dang, I think I spilled a little on Bobby's glasses there.
So what are you
All
pouring?
right, so today's wine that we're drinking on the show is a Chilean wine. It's called Los Vascos. Los Vascos. Delicious wine. I've actually had it before. Highly recommend it. Cheers, everybody, to a great show.
Salud.
All right.
Good.
And Melissa here, this chair is hers. That glass is hers. She
If you
should
don't
be
get here in time, Melissa, I'm gonna be having your
We're gonna be
glass.
drinking
There's
yours.
notorious traffic down on the
That's
road
a
right
nice-
behind us, so.
That's a nice full body.
Yes. It's a delicious wine. So at the end of the show, we're gonna rate it between 1 and 5 grapes.
I'm a little congested, so I thought it was a Malbec.
So don't give it away yet.
Yeah,
Just
yeah.
sip on it. Enjoy it. All right? Tasty. Yeah. We'll talk about it at the end of the show. And if you guys want to get some of it, just ping me and I'll tell you all about it. I'm going to take me a sip now. So somebody talk. Say something intelligent.
Well, I'm curious on what people's ideas are regarding the current state of affairs with the firing of Comey.
Oh, yes.
You know, I saw that, and I've had some personal issues going on outside of the politics, and I haven't had a chance to have a talk with anybody. So this is the first opportunity I'm going to get to see what people's opinions are on that.
Yeah, you know, I've just caught a little bit of it in the news and people ranting in my feed, and that's honestly all I've dived into it.
So when you say ranting, supporting the firing or against the firing?
All over the place.
Oh, really? Okay.
I'm sorry. This phone
Steve's
has a mind
pocket
of
is
its
talking
own.
to us.
It's a smartphone that's
Steve's pocket is talking to us.
I can't stand this. I'm going to turn it
Bobby,
down.
have you
I'm
seen-
sorry, guys.
Whoa!
What the heck?
We got dive bombed by a pigeon.
There's a bird.
Yeah, totally did.
Wow!
Bird is stunned.
I gotta say, that's the first time in a year since I've been here that's happened.
No,
That's pretty good.
up. I mean, he came
Yeah.
like, wow.
Yeah, he's still catching hell of it.
Oh yeah, the other birds are laughing at him.
Yeah.
Right?
No, he's being chased. No, he's being chased by the blackbird there.
I know he's falling
Wow.
inside. That's a buzz.
Did you have the windows just clean?
Wow.
No.
Yeah,
Wow.
it's
Okay,
crazy.
so we just got dive bombed by a pigeon over
Maybe
here.
maybe that's a sign. We should
Upset
talk
about-
that.
yeah.
We shouldn't talk about the
That was a
color.
Comey. That was a Comey pigeon.
I think his
Trump
opening
is
with
everywhere.
with the Comey issue is on everybody's mind. For some
Sure.
reason, the media seems to think that this is important. It did not take an act of Congress to fire him. We knew that that was going to happen. Comey is a long line of appointed people by the previous administration that their track record, if you really look at what they did, what their job was to obstruct, was to obfuscate, and it was to keep justice from happening. I mean, either one of us that had done the things that they were supposed to be investigating, emails and other communications, we would be in the pokey right now. Okay?
That's true.
So if you're
That
in
is
law enforcement, your job is to enforce the law. Your job is not to investigate intent, where that seems to be the narrative. We need to find out why she did this or why he did that. That is not part of any real investigation. If you talk to any beat cop out here or any investigator, they look at the facts, they see a body, they find out who did it, and they investigate it. It has nothing to do with intent. I don't think it sounds nice. It's nice for courtroom drama in some ways, but it's not something that puts you in prison, or does it set you free?
Okay, so just based on your response, I have a simple question directly to you personally though.
Sure.
How many administrations had Comey, well, how many administrations was Comey employed under? How many different administrations, both Republican and Democrat?
I believe he didn't hold the directorship of the FBI, but under one administration. I'd have to go back and check. But he has been working within the framework of the DC area for a while. Yeah, he's been involved in that crowd for a while.
Over like 20 or 30 years. It's
Oh,
not-
yeah,
it's
you
not-
don't,
it's
you
not
don't
new
get the
to that.
directorship without
Right, he's not new to
paying
that.
your dues, yes.
Okay.
Ed Camp, my good buddy, said, wait, all this isn't about James Comey Island?
No,
I love it. I love it.
Good one, Ed. Good one, Ed. Yep. All right. All right. Here's the crazy thing to me is that the people that were all like pissed off at Comey and we need to fire that dude, get him out of there. You know, when it was during the whole Hillary thing. Now we're like, wait a minute. We were just about to get to the bottom of everything. Why did we fire Comey? What's going on here? This isn't just. I'm like, make up your dang mind. Either the guy is incompetent or he's not.
but the bottom of what? What was he doing? What was he investigating?
Well,
I'm curious.
Well,
Really?
it's clear that he was investigating any ties to Russia or anything that had to do with I guess anything that obstructs justice for the American people. And right now, with the administration, the new administration, catching heat from all different angles, that's just something that obviously people really want to know. I do want to know. Does it really matter? No, because at the end of the day, you know, the President of the United States doesn't affect my life personally here in Humboldt.
Say that again.
It doesn't.
Say that again.
It's entertainment, and I love to be entertained. You know, and if I can
Sure.
be entertained by
Thus,
your
why
ass
we're
in the
here.
hot seat, I want to see that. You
Yeah,
know,
see.
I want to see it, but I don't want it shut down. I don't want it shut down haphazardly. I don't want it shut down intermittently. You know, when the guy's on your side, okay, great, we got it. But when the guy's not on your side, then you fire him. That speaks to what I didn't grow up with in a democracy. It's you've got to let the system play out. And his firing is part of the system, which is a beautiful thing because the system allows for that.
Right,
Well,
and the boss, what the boss says.
Yeah, exactly. You know,
is
so
what happens.
I love it.
It's
I
a
totally love it.
business.
Yeah, it is a business.
Yes.
You hit it on the head. all of this, all the politics is a business.
Oh yeah, of
It's
course.
a business. It's a
Um,
business.
You know, here's. I wish I knew more on the firing thing. Honestly, I've been just too freaking busy to dig into it more.
Right.
But here's what in the brief that I have seen. I have seen historical prior to Trump election, all this sort of thing. Both sides of the party calling for his firing. Right? I have seen that. I've seen quotes. I've seen references, all that sort of thing. There's been a general, we're not happy with this guy for a good while, right? And now you pair that with a guy who won the election, like it or not. I didn't vote for him. I say it all the time to remind people of context. I get put in a position where I'm defending the guy, so people are like, "Oh, you're just towing the party line." I'm like, well, I didn't vote for the guy. Okay, chill out. What I saw was a guy who got elected who said, "This gal's a criminal, and I'm going to put her in jail." Right? And this is the guy who headed up the investigation, who under oath admitted she lied.
Right.
Right? Who under oath said she had, I forget the exact phrase, so forgive me for paraphrasing this, but said that she had handled classified information negligently, incompetently. He said under oath that her security clearance should be revoked.
Right.
What? Who the hell gets to run for president and have their security clearance revoked? Could you imagine how that would have went down if that had happened and she got elected? Madam President, there's an incident in the Middle East. We need. Oh, I can't talk to you about this. You're not clear for this. What? Right? So he said all that under oath and said, but we're not pursuing criminal charges.
Well,
Right?
The part that got me about everything you just said is true, but the part that really got me about his testimony was when he said, if anyone else, and I'm paraphrasing, if anyone else had done what she had done,
Yes.
she would feel the full weight in front of the
Well,
law.
and in fact,
And he said that, and I was like, well, why the hell is she feeling the full weight
Exactly.
in front of the law?
and in fact, we have precedents, legal precedents, of someone who handled the exact same type of information in an exact same way, except it was one single email, and he's serving time right now,
Where it should be,
right where he should be.
where she should be.
Because when you handle classified information that puts the lives of our operatives in the field at risk, you have no business handling classified information.
Again, though, we're talking politics, right? And you got rudimentary politics. You got what they say is levels to this shit.
Right.
Oh,
At the end of the day,
yeah.
I mean, it just is levels to it.
Bobby said a bad word.
I did. Have you ever seen?
Oh man, I hit the big button.
I had to check myself too, because I said one as well.
It's all right. It's all right.
Did you,
It's all right.
Did you notice the time that the WikiLeaks guy was about to give the information on Hillary, and then all of a sudden he changed his mind?
Mhm.
I don't know if we understand.
He probably read that list.
I don't know if we
Politics.
understand the power of
Politics.
the power of the Clintons.
Yeah.
They will come up missing.
Yeah.
So
That's what I said. He probably read that list.
Just
The names.
avoid Fort Marcy Park.
but-
That's where you need to
People who accidentally shoot themselves in the back of the head.
So here's the other thing: is that for me, when you start talking about
I was clearing my gun.
3 different people investigating, let's talk about that. The administration, and all 3 get relieved. All I'm going to say, like you said, that's true. Everything Joe said is true. But here you got 3 people that are investigating, and all 3 was relieved of duty.
Right.
So I'm the type of person, I go watch CNN.
It sure makes you feel like there's something there.
You get one spin, you go watch Fox, you get another spin. So you know what I watch? I watch foreign channels because I get the truth.
Right, no, that's good. That's good.
So you get, because if you don't, you get the spin of the parties.
Right.
And so when you're really trying to take a neutral approach to understanding the media, is there some potential fake information, fake news,
Potential
agenda?
fake?
I'm
Yeah,
just
I
saying,
think so. Potential
fake?
I'm just.
He's being
I'm
polite.
framing. I'm framing. Right? I'm
I heard
framing.
a fake news.
Look, I watch the
I
Clinton
know,
News Network.
It's the first I heard a potential fake.
Yeah.
Okay.
So
I
I'm
watch the
framing.
Clinton News Network every day,
All right.
and they are reliable.
So is the Kardashians.
Okay.
Yeah, no,
We had a great discussion months before all of this started.
and
really
Camp says I want
ramping up.
Bobby investigated.
What?
Again.
Again.
Okay, so
When-
we had a comment. Hey, real quick, we had a
Sure.
comment from Saul Carrillo. Thanks for tuning in, buddy.
Yep.
Derek, thanks for tuning in. Ed, appreciate you watching the show, man. Saul said, Trump can't win. If he forgave all of our personal debt and cured cancer, people would complain that some people got more than others, and now we will be overpopulated.
I knew 2 years
I would
before
not
this
complain if
election
he
went
cured
down.
cancer.
Right.
I would not complain.
2 years before this
Someone
election
would.
went down,
They've already cured it in Cuba.
we're getting. I'm observing the buildup, the hysteria, the people that are panicking because Obama is now term limited and he's going to be out of the office. So the stress was there in a certain segment of the community. And
We're going to invite Bobby on the show.
Yeah, Bobby, you need
Bobby
drink
and
up.
Bobby.
I'm
Drink up.
sneaking in.
We're in capping Bobby's
Is it
here.
because he said
Anyway.
Obama, he's the
Yeah.
Obama guy?
No,
Whoa,
no.
whoa, whoa, whoa. I
He's
didn't
an
know.
Obama guy, he just jumped in. And I'm like, wait a
I got
minute,
some stuff
wait
on
a
what we were talking
minute.
about.
Well,
We
yeah.
got some stuff on the
And
subject.
he needs his
And
input.
he saw the comment, Melissa's not gonna be able to make it. She got the downtown and was still
Okay.
like miles and miles away, and so
Okay, yeah.
we just said go home.
This is Melissa's glass right here.
No,
We are drinking her glass.
That's right.
Go right here.
Drinking
Here
it
you go.
in solidarity, right?
That's right.
We're drinking it for her.
Bobby has joined us on the show, so I
Great.
That Bobby.
That's
And
The other Bobby.
Bobby.
this is his
Bobby,
second
Bobby.
time.
I'm the Bobby, he's
Bobby.
the other
Bobby.
Yes, the white Bobby and the black Bobby. I can only have.
No.
I can only have one of
I am
each.
not black. I am brown. Do you see this?
Okay, brown Bobby.
I am brown.
I will just
But you're
refer
not
to
Bobby
you.
Brown.
I'm not
Dang
Bobby
it,
Brown.
Come on, I stole my joke. I said I will refer
stole that
to
from me.
you from now on as Bobby Brown.
Sorry about that. I didn't know you were going there.
Yeah.
Right? Because he made all this clarification earlier.
Right,
And now he's owning the brownness. I'm wait
I
a
think
minute.
they like that name out there. I can tell.
Yeah. We're getting some thumbs up on that.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yes.
So,
All right, so we're being rowdy and staff has to close the
but
door.
anyway,
now.
what I was saying is
So-
that where was I going with this? I knew and I saw, and there's several people that saw that it was not going to matter who was going to be sitting at 1600 Pennsylvania after that election. Didn't matter. The constant barrage of negative press daily was going to happen, and I was telling my dad
That's correct.
in a conversation saying, "Look, we need
You talking about Comey?
2 years ago.
Regarding
It didn't matter
It didn't matter if it
who
was
was going to be
Clinton
sitting
or-
there.
No, I mean, but are you talking about the
No,
constant
no.
negative press
It's just
on
in general.
Comey, or
It's
just in
never
general?
going to end.
Oh,
This
yeah.
is a unique situation because it's not really the Democrats that are driving this. It is really the press that is really driving the narrative, and that's all it is. It
Who
takes
drives the press?
the press itself. And
No,
no, I believe
someone
they do.
drives the press. There's money that drives the press. Who drives
Well,
the
it's
money?
advertising and it's justifying their existence. That's why we have not put a lot of things to bed yet that don't need to be discussed. That the ranking of these stories through attention to different stories like the Comey issue. I think we still have some attention being played in some venues about the Syria bombing. With the Tomahawk missiles coming in there and taking out the airbase. So there is some residual stuff, but this idea that anything Trump, anything that we can go to beat him down, they're going to do it. And so far, you know what?
Oh, no,
I think he's taking it.
He helped us take it. Hell, he helps. He helps take. He gives
He
himself
takes
a
the
beat.
heat. He takes
Well,
the heat.
No. He doesn't give himself a reading. He causes
That's
himself
my point.
to get the
Yeah.
beat.
That's exactly what I was trying to say.
Yeah.
I mean,
on a weekly, if not a daily basis,
Well,
he is seeing some.
he-
What's
hijack
the
his Twitter
tweet?
account.
Bobby, you shared the tweet. White Bobby. You shared the tweet.
Not brown Bobby.
I'm totally
on
gonna,
cue.
I'm totally gonna refer to y'all
I'll
that
keep
way for the
looking
rest
down
of
to
the
make sure I
show.
remember.
Oh,
Bobby
man.
White, Bobby Brown.
That's what the company now. Yeah, I remember.
Right.
Woo!
Right, popular back then.
Please don't sue me,
What's your
anybody.
question? What's your
Right. Bobby White, you shared a tweet today from Trump,
I did.
right? What was the tweet?
The one basically where people thought he was threatening Comey because he was saying.
I'm like, thought.
Yeah, well, he flat out comes
Flat
out
out
and says,
threatened him.
Comey better hope that none of the conversations between him and Trump were recorded, and that basically is a threat because you assume that all presidential conversations are recorded, at least phone calls.
You would assume.
You would assume. In the past, if you look it up, they have
correct.
Lyndon Johnson saying embarrassing things on the phone, of course
Nixon.
Nixon. So it's normally after they're gone where these come forward.
Right.
But yeah, I shared that. And going back on the issue of the Comey firing, that's kind of got ready to jump in here earlier about that. We can go back the whole time, and I'll agree with all the Hillary stuff. But it's been 100 days. If he came in to fire her for what he did for Hillary, he's had 100 days to do
Get
it.
it done.
But you have people in the FBI, and I know this is coming from our media, so we got to take it with a grain of salt. But we have people in the FBI saying 2 days before.
What would that look?
We got people 2 days before saying that he asked for more money for the Russian investigation. And then you have Trump in the note where he fired Comey
Bingo.
saying, you know, what does Colbert say? Thank you for telling me on 3 separate occasions.
No, he doesn't. Trump.
Yeah, but I'm
Well,
not
he
being
knew
investigated.
that was going to come up, because
Yeah, so-
the media was not going to let that go.
Well, it's classic
Yeah.
Trump though. He talks around himself if you think about it. He will
He
he will
does,
but
tee
It's
it
not
up
that.
and
The
then talk
point,
around.
it's not that. The point is, he had 100 days to fire this guy if he was incompetent. But now that he's actually drilling down and requesting funding to investigate the Russia connection, now he's got to go. It's taken him 100 days to realize that this guy has to go.
Yeah.
Really?
And I don't know.
That's not a coincidence.
And I don't know who's a Trump guy, and I don't know who's a Hillary person.
I was more of a Trump guy than a Hillary guy, and I still am.
I'm more of a Satan guy
You're more of
than I am a
Trump
Hillary
I'm
guy.
surprised
glad
to
to
hear
be
that.
here.
Well, yeah.
I'm
So,
surprised to hear that, but I was more of a Trump guy than a Hillary guy.
so we've had a lot
I
of
didn't vote
people
for
on
him.
here.
We needed some cleanup in our system, even if it wasn't outside, because I have full faith in the American system that with the Senate, with the House, and with the judiciary, you know, the executive can be controlled, but not if it's a Clinton.
No, I mean,
Not if it's a Clinton.
I hear you. And,
So-
and my
Hey,
point-
look, I mean, if we want to go conspiracy theory on that line of thinking, the reason that Hillary didn't get prosecuted when any halfwit who knows law, I mean, Trey Gowdy called him out on it. I mean, it is the very premise of why you would indict somebody. He described it, went down the list of these are the behaviors.
Did she meet the criteria?
She meets the criteria off the freaking chart, right? But
She did.
the
She did.
inside Washington, spin on it was, look, there's too many people that would go down,
Right.
right? Too many people on the dole. I mean, she went into office worth millions and came out of office worth hundreds of millions. You don't do that just being like all legit and playing by the rules. I'm sorry. This is the same gal who invested $1,000 in Tyson Foods and turned it into $100,000.
Yeah, but see-
I need her broker.
But see, I'm not a conspiracy theorist. I'm the type of guy. I don't have enough information. I'm not sitting at the table. I'm not in the Oval. It's a lot of stuff. We will theory ourselves to death. So I actually don't really allow myself to get engaged. Yeah, right. I mean, as much because the thing is I would just play into the propaganda. I mean,
You
it's
sure
just
would.
Yeah,
Well-
and so I go based off of what the information, which it's what's being fed.
That's correct.
It's what's being fed to all of us. And then so we have to sit here with a limited understanding, not enough information, and attempt to come up with a theory. Because you watch this channel, they're going to feed you this again. You watch this, they're going to feed you that.
Yeah.
Spin, counter. And then what do you believe?
Well, there is
This
no
is- this
news.
is
It's
why I
all
said-
op-edding now.
It is all.
But this is why I said earlier, the news is fed by finances.
I was about
We
to
talked
money.
about advertising.
Money.
Well, who are the ones that are advertising? Because if an advertiser pulls their advertisements, just like they did on Fox with O'Reilly.
By the way, that's advertisement.
That is advertisement.
I know, advertisement. They probably didn't know what that.
I'm sorry.
That's the
I
sexy
go
way
back
of saying
and forth.
that. That's the
I
sexy way
go
of saying
back and forth.
The media
But the fact is,
the media is driven by
Dang.
a business model, and their people, your on-air talent. There's a lot more.
okay,
than
but
the
who is
people-
paying? Who's paying for the advertisements? And then, when you say who's paying for the advertisements, what is the message that they want to portray? You can't ignore that.
I'm not so sure that the advertisers really have much of a say-so in content and narrative that is being presented
My
in
friend,
the mind.
I'll tell you right now,
No, there were issues
you should
that were-
educate yourself on that. There are
Exactly.
plenty of channels that
Yeah.
you can go and watch a video.
Absolutely.
Google it, YouTube it on the way home, and educate yourself. Because advertisements are controlled by companies that have a political agenda.
Yeah.
Correct.
Yeah.
Okay?
And,
Here's what I would say.
recognizing that, because you're exactly where I am on this. I do not allow myself, and I counsel people to don't get yourself so for lack of a better term, don't get so skull blocked
Right.
on what is being presented to you on
Right.
any network out there.
That's correct.
Okay.
And don't push it down to your employees.
Make up
right.
your own damn
Yeah.
mind on these
Yeah.
things, and you'll feel a heck of a lot better.
Well, check it out.
Make
Here's
up
the
your
thing.
mind based on what?
I think there's, I think there's a
You do
middle
have to take a
ground.
lot of that information in.
Look,
And you let it frustrate you,
Right.
you let it irritate you, and you let it take over what you discuss and what we discuss now. It's hard.
Let's be
And I
nice
don't-
and
I
let's be
don't-
nice and let Joe try to say something.
Yeah.
Look,
He's about to pull the timeout.
I need a
That's what I was
buzzer.
about to say was.
Yeah.
What was it, green beans?
I need a buzzer. First, let me say, Carol Garcia, do not give Bobby wine.
Carol, you know me, don't you? Carol
Too
knows
late.
me.
Uh-oh.
I must be leaving you on this glass, young man.
Hey, she knows me.
We're gonna make it reach a little further.
Brian White wants to know if there's a buzzer, if someone whines too much that we can push to make them fall through the floor.
Yeah, we'll see.
No buzzer, but I like your thinking.
I do.
And Misty Chestnut said, "Hey, Mello."
All right.
So, all right.
I'm not mellow right now, but I'm just getting in the flow. Getting in the
Right.
flow.
We're
And
good.
Ed Camp just posted, "I get all my news from Facebook."
Oh,
Did you know Clint Eastwood died again?
Oh.
Ed's on a roll today.
Nice.
We
So,
need
no,
the
this-
chair to be empty again.
So this is what I was going to say, is that to me it's an in-between, right? From where you're at and from what you were saying. I genuinely don't think the advertisers are calling up CNN or whoever and saying, no, you will report this, right?
No.
I think the advertisers are saying, hey, I am in agreement with the Clinton News Network, and I'm going to spend my millions of dollars over there.
Correct.
And as soon as they report something that isn't in line with the Clinton News Network
They pull the
thinking,
dollars.
I will let them know that I don't agree.
Buy my dollars.
Right, by my dollars.
By my dollars.
Exactly.
Did you
Because
guys-
they want the
so-
audience of that
Yeah.
that network to. I want that audience to buy my products and
Right.
services.
Yeah.
And it's a simple.
And on YouTube recently had an issue to where certain things that were playing and messages that were being conveyed, politically or whatever, right? And they, you had companies whose advertisements were showing up, and they were like, whoa, we don't believe in that. Why did you show our ad during that?
Yeah, it was
And
a
that's what
big deal. Yeah.
you saw that.
Yeah,
and that
it
was a huge thing. I mean, they got on YouTube about that.
So
Wow.
anyone can monetize a channel on YouTube,
Right.
And
Yeah.
so
Right.
people are monetizing their channels. And it was a real race issue too.
It was
people,
yeah.
People,
That's
guys,
the only reason I'm doing this show, is because I'm going to monetize it on YouTube.
Yeah. See, in gold, in
There's
gold.
nothing wrong with that.
But no, so yeah,
we're
this,
moving on up.
this guy monetized a video, and he was only getting 20 hits or something. It wasn't high, but he was still getting paid every time it's getting
Over
hit.
time.
Yeah, and so the advertisers aren't choosing who they're hitting on; they're just blanketing, their ads. Well, this dude goes on rants where he's saying horrible things, and right before it, I believe it was an Oreo ad or something like that. It was one of Nabisco's products. Is playing before it. Well, of course, someone finds this and writes the company. Your ad is being played before this white
Exactly.
supremacist guy,
Exactly.
and so they pulled the content. So
Yeah.
then it's cry of freedom of speech. You're pulling my content.
Exactly. So
And-
that goes back to what you're saying when you start talking about advertisements, and you're paying your money based on what views.
You're
The
paying
business is
that's
paying
what it
you-
is.
right. But
Exactly.
that company, do they have the option to dictate what slots and when to play when? I've never seen that. It could happen.
Okay, let me go
But
back
I've
to
seen
let me go back to O'Reilly. So O'Reilly did some things that offended some people, and I'm going to say rightfully so. Well, BMW and an insurance company, and I think a beverage company, and I think and also another media outlet pulled their advertisements from the O'Reilly show. Within a few days after that, he was fired. Wait
Yeah.
a minute. Well, wait a minute. I thought to myself, the network paid out millions of dollars in settlements to these quote unquote complaints.
Companies.
No. To the ladies that had complained.
Oh, okay, yeah.
They paid out millions
Millions.
in settlements to those people that had complained. But now, because you're having because you're having advertisement dollars pulled, now you decide to fire him. What's the obvious message there?
He wasn't fired for the sexual harassment.
Of-
He was fired.
Say it,
yeah,
say it,
he was
say
fired
it.
because they pulled ads. He was fired
Thank
because the money
you.
stopped.
That's
coming in.
what I'm. And so when you have a company that has that kind of pull, that a network can fire O'Reilly, which let me tell you, I'm not a big fan of O'Reilly, but I loved hearing his viewpoints because he's a crap starter.
Yeah.
All right?
Oh, yeah.
And so now it's not just the message of the network that was silenced. It's not just the message. You
And
got your
weird.
star. You got your star that was yanked, and somebody wants to tell me that that advertisement dollars don't matter? No, I don't live in that fairy tale world.
Yeah.
Sorry, I
Hey,
don't.
10 years.
I don't
Robert-
live in that fairy tale world.
Robert Jeter III chimed in. He said, what wine companies advertise on this show? And then he said,
Robert, we don't know.
And then he said,
Robert.
seriously though, great dialogue. So kudos,
you.
guys,
Thank you.
for
Thank
the
you.
good dialogue.
Thank
And
you.
Robert, if you know any wine companies that would like to throw money at us, please contact me.
Or Robert, if you would like to come join the show.
Right.
There you
Come on
go.
down, Robert.
Right,
Yeah,
and you know
Robert.
what? Good time to plug the show there, by the way, guys. Thank y'all for tuning in. If you want to be a guest on the show, hop over to winenowhine.com. That's WINENOWHINE.com. Drop your name in the hat. We'll get you on the show. And just comment here on Facebook. Share this post. Share the video. We're doing this for free. We all spend our
No,
time.
I'm getting wine. I'm not doing it for free.
They're doing it for wine, good wine, I might add, and
This-
some tasty treats.
Where are the great,
The grape rating things. We have to get them out of the room.
okay,
I forgot them.
that's okay.
We got it.
Well, we can actually give a verbal,
Yeah.
it's 1 grape to 5 grapes.
Yeah.
Is it 5 grapes or 4
Is-
grapes? It's 5 grapes.
Is it time? We haven't already.
I don't
got
know.
it yet.
It sounded to me like you were wanting to wrap up. the
No!
show there.
No.
Remember, we went 30 minutes over last week. You know?
Yeah.
No.
The girls
Yeah.
were looking.
Yeah. It was pretty awesome.
Go.
The one
You
thing
kept them captivated.
Well, no, they were like,
they got
Okay,
ramped
I
up
have
the
to go.
further we went. They really got
Turn off
into
the
it.
faucet.
Yeah.
Yeah.
No, I was just saying it's a good time to get people to
Transition.
share
Oh,
the show,
yeah.
like the show, etc.
absolutely.
Yeah, and if there's something else, we can talk about it. But anyway, thanks for watching the show. Be sure to like and share the video. Get the message out there, guys. Genuinely, with all my heart, this is how I see the issue in America, right? In America today, we cannot have these kind of conversations, it seems like, without name calling, without belittling people.
I'll kill you.
It literally gets into
I've been wanting to do
a
that
violent.
for 4 weeks.
It gets into a violent,
Did y'all see him
angry.
cheer me? I wanted some wine. Did y'all see that?
And you got more.
Yeah.
That's why he kept me off the show for 4 weeks.
I'm like,
Carol Garcia.
you know what?
Oh, there you go.
We need to be able to have a civil freaking conversation to talk things
Absolutely.
through. Because you know what? This is something that, doing this show, it's kind of come to me. I've had this realization that if you watch the Foxes or the CNNs or whatever, it's these guys who, that's their job. They spend time researching stuff and all this. They're informed and they argue their point, and it's always a biased point and all that sort of thing. But America, generally speaking, has sound bites. And they're going on sound bites. And then based on sound bites, they start attacking each other. So you've made the comment already, we're already only barely know. I don't have enough time to know.
Yeah.
Right? It's a full-time job staying up with the real truth because I can't trust the news to actually give me the news. They're giving me their op-ed BS, right? So I got to do extra crazy homework to stay informed. So consequently, here we are. I want to have this show so that we can show America that, you know what, you can have your viewpoint and be passionate about it. I can't stand Hillary Clinton, right? I'll get on a rant about her in a heartbeat. And I did try to stay pretty informed about the stuff that I was talking about with her. But I've been guilty of sharing things and saying things that I'm like, oh yeah, that's true, share. And then somebody goes, that's not right.
Well,
Right?
but
So, and I had to fix it.
Yeah, but here's my thing. I don't owe it to anybody to advertise ignorance, and I hope people will stop advertising theirs, especially on social media. Because let me tell you, I'm in business.
Right.
And I don't want people not to support my brand or the people that work for me. And this is a spin, if you guys didn't catch that, right?
Promote business.
But when we start talking about
Yeah, big
being in
plug.
business, being in business and being that vocal, can it hurt your business?
Yes,
Of course.
it can.
Exactly. So I don't owe anybody my opinion.
Right.
So when I'm on social media, I don't talk politics. If I do, I'm very vague. I'm very vague, and that conversation can go in a few different ways. It's not that I don't have a stance. I respect Joe's stance on his approach. And this, while we're sitting at this table, we can agree to disagree. But I just, for me and what I'm seeking to accomplish, and my business is based on public consumption, I just can't afford to take a stance maybe publicly. Doesn't mean that I don't have a backbone, and trust me, people that know me, I believe what I believe, unequivocally.
Right.
But I don't owe it to anybody to advertise my stance.
Right.
And
you know what?
and unfortunately, and I'll digress after this. Unfortunately, I do see people that do it in such a way to where I think it does hurt them. It hurts
Absolutely.
their business. It hurts the people that work for them, and it hurts their brand.
Right.
That's fine. You like it? I love it. It's just what I'm willing to do or not do.
Right.
And you know what? Here's the thing. And you have a pivotal role in my life, and we've talked about this.
Me, Joe? Oh my God. Me?
Yeah, absolutely. Right?
You see that, right?
I saw that.
P.I.
Maybe I need to move over this chair.
P. Spell it.
You know.
It's hard to
Right.
say.
In that I have never been afraid to
Uh-huh.
dialogue, to discuss, to the best of my ability, seek truth.
Mhm.
And seek truth through conversation
Uh-huh.
Yes, sir.
and analyzing viewpoints, right?
I'll kill it.
And this, I mentioned this, I think, last week on the show, but you know this one very well, in that it started for me with the whole Trayvon Martin
Uh-huh.
hearing, right?
Yeah.
And at that point, I followed that case and I knew that case. I mean, I studied evidence and testimony. And I spent an inordinate amount of time
Uh-huh.
studying it, right? And I had dialogues about it and never insulted anybody, never called anybody a name. I just very dispassionately shared data. But because it was such an emotional and because it was such a sensitive subject, my unemotional approach pissed people off to the point that my business was boycotted.
Yeah.
Right?
I remember that.
Right?
I really do.
Really?
I just,
And
those discussions were very innocuous, very fact based, not emotional. So
What'd you learn from that?
so what I learned from it was this, because I honestly was very dumbfounded by that. Right? Like, you called me every name in the freaking book. I've never attacked you, even when you're calling me all these names. I'm still trying to pull you back to facts. I'm still trying to pull you back to the data. Let's talk about that, right? What I learned from it came from this guy, and it really made me analyze how I approach those kind of situations, specifically those kind of situations. He said, Joe, he basically said that. You are so just focused on the facts and so unemotional in what you're talking about that it comes off very uncaring, very unsympathetic, and without empathy, lacking empathy, right? And he said, you've got to learn to be empathetic, right? And that is absolutely true. It's one of the 7 laws of the highly successful. Seek first to understand, right? Which is one of the rules on my show, right? If we disagree passionately, great. I love it. No problem. We'll be friends at the end. But the rule is, let me at least try to understand where you're coming from, right? I may completely disagree, but I want to know where you're coming from. Because a lot of times when you do that, at the root is something that we can both agree on, right? I'm like, you know what? It's just your idea of a solution that I disagree with. But we both agree that corrupt politicians taking money and getting paid and no longer representing their constituents, but just voicing the concerns of the person who's paying them, we both agree that's a problem. But when you say, let's redistribute wealth so that those wealthy people can't buy off the politician, and so it's an even keel system, I'm like, that's where we fall apart, right? But at the root, I can agree, right? So you can feel understood.
See,
so that was a thing where I really fell apart,
Yeah.
you know, and Bobby had to get me set on track, and I'm trying to take that approach now.
See, and you're a speaker like I'm a speaker. You're an author just like I'm an author. And you know what? At the end of the day, here's the funny thing to me about information, because I'm a bit of a geek myself. I'm an avid reader.
He's a geek.
But at the end of the day, when you think about it, you're right, facts are facts and opinions are opinions. Majority of the books that we read are nothing more than a collection of opinions in black and white.
That's very true.
But we read that article
like it's a fact.
Like it's a fact. And we walk around and we actually govern our lives based on that data and how it affects us. It may have moved us. It may have infuriated us. But at the end of the day, when I go read an article, it's somebody's view.
Yes.
Now, they may have sprinkles of truth in it. It could be doses of truth in it. But at the end of the day, it's their spin. No different from watching CNN, no different from watching Fox. So that's therefore going way back to the beginning of this dialogue. I don't get upset. I don't wrap myself up into media news or reading. You said it best. Entertainment.
Which?
It's entertainment.
I got long-winded on
But
something.
what's unfortunate is the average American reads on a 6th grade level. And so when they hear and read, they believe. Yeah. Unfortunately.
Very true.
They don't know how to decipher
They
reality.
get emotionally invested in what they're reading.
They don't know how to decipher fact from opinion from entertainment.
Right. But you said something earlier. I'm going to come back because you said something that people might not have caught, but when you started talking about redistribution of wealth, you hit a nerve with me.
Yeah.
And the reason for that is,
can I have $5?
The reason is,
I ain't redistributing my $5.
having grown up poor, I had one narrative about what wealth was, and then having grown into being a businessman, I look at it slightly different because from my Republican friends, we hear about this redistribution of wealth, and no, I don't want to give up my dollars, but I also see the loopholes that we take advantage of. I see the millions and billions and sometimes even trillions that corporations take advantage of in loopholes, and that's corporate welfare that people don't talk about.
Sure.
Right. And so on the one hand, it's like there's this chasm between the welfare moms or the people that are on welfare and they make a business out of it. And I've seen that as well because I did Section 8 housing. Right. I've seen it. I've seen it all
stood behind line.
But I've also seen the millions. I've seen the millions and the billions that corporations get as welfare, as corporate welfare that we pay for their tax dollars.
Yep.
So when you throw that term around, redistribution of wealth, be careful when you say that because redistribution of wealth.
I was actually
how did they get their wealth?
Quoting something.
I want to add to that. So
reference.
my company is raising capital right now. That's not a plug. Yeah. Raising capital. I'm gonna tell you what's interesting right now.
However, if you want to throw money at him, he is accepting money.
We accept money. You start talking about SEC rules and investments.
Yeah.
I have people who want to invest into my company. That actually is a thing called accredited investor and non-accredited investor. And guess what? In the world of investing into tech companies or in businesses, that if you don't make $200,000 a year for the last 2 years or have $1 million net worth, you can't invest. Now I'm gonna tell you, some of the most educated people on this earth
don't know that.
No, some of the most educated people on this earth don't qualify as an accredited investor. So this is a rat race. So I agree with him that we have to be careful of this redistribution thing because the thing is that rule alone, I've had people who've had the money.
Can't get in.
And they can't invest into my company as an accredited investor because the SEC will look at them as a non-sophisticated investor because they don't make $200,000. We're talking about what percentage of America makes that kind of money?
Well, it goes further than that.
Think about that.
It goes further than that.
So you procrastinate. You keep these people in a situation who have the capital, who's been diligent savers, and you know what? Now they have an opportunity, ground floor, to make an investment. Yet the SEC says, they're not accredited. You can't take their money. Go find a guy who's in that 1% of America.
And good luck getting into that circle.
And good luck getting into that circle. You guys see what I'm saying?
Oh, yeah.
So we have to hear these stories because we don't talk about these stories. These stories don't make the news.
Well, you know what? The point
It's
I actually
not
have to
sexy.
come all the way
It's
back
not
to
sexy
was this.
Says the brown guy.
It's the boomerang. It's the boomerang.
I'm talking to Bobby Brown. Which, by the way, Angel Cortez said, great show. He said, good sound. Kudos to everybody on the show. And he wanted me to talk about wine tasting event that we have next Saturday. I'm plugging it shamelessly. Next Saturday, 3 to 6.
I'm going.
We've already got like 40 people registered on the Wine No Wine page. Jump on it. Going to be a lot of fun. It's an art show and a free wine tasting. No cost, no obligations or anything. Just come out and have a good time. Enjoy some good wine. Enjoy some local Houston art. That's awesome. I love sharing that kind of stuff. If you have questions on that, be sure to hit me up in Messenger. Back to something you said earlier about not sharing your view. This is like, I totally get it. As a guy who's had his business boycotted, right?
Literally.
Had his business
That's a
boycotted.
small fraternity, man.
Right? It is, right?
It is.
This is how hardcore I am about the truth, right? I care more about getting to the truth, walking in truth, living truth, being truth, all that sort of thing. Not to say I've got it down by any means, but that I'm in a constant hunt for it and being it, right? To the point where I'm fine with my business being boycotted, right? I don't care, because I believe that it's that whole what you reap you sow. You know, if I stick a kernel of corn in the ground, I'm not going to get a kernel of corn back. I'm getting corn stalk and cobs and lots of corn, right? So I'm planting truth. And while there's one goofball who's going to call for the whole community to boycott me, and he's going to have people that believe him just because he is who he is or whatever else, have fun. Y'all go do whatever you're doing. But meanwhile, I know that there's going to be 100 of those guys that opposite him going, you know what? I ain't feeling what this guy's saying. It really seems like Joe's just trying to get to the truth.
Yeah, but here's the thing though, Joe. And so here's my view on truth. Because I'm going to tell you, I'm rich experience. I wouldn't trade my life. I'll live it 10 times over if I could. I wouldn't change absolutely nothing. But let me tell you about the truth. There's
I feel like a Jack Nicholson moment.
You
can't handle the truth.
I'm bracing for it. I'm bracing for it.
First, there are variations to that word.
Sure.
And what I've learned in my short 44 years is that although I know the truth about something, and it may be the raw, dead truth about something.
Sure.
It doesn't mean that you're ready to hear it.
Sure. No, absolutely.
It doesn't mean that you're ready to hear it. Now, what my objective in life is, Carmelo, is to figure out how do I leverage that truth to my benefit. Now, if you and I come in contact and we engage in dialogue, and then through that dialogue, I learn that you can handle that truth, then I'll share that truth.
But what if that truth doesn't benefit you, but it's the truth nonetheless?
I have to ask myself, do I even owe it to share that truth? In every moment, that's the fork in the road. Do I owe it? You see what I'm saying?
Yeah.
Because there's some situations I've been confronted with, and I sat there and I said, I mean, we politics, personal, marriage, you see what I'm saying? Right. We keep saying the truth. Sometimes we actually lie to protect the other person.
That's right.
Let's just be honest about that. Or we may say, well, no, I'm just so hell-bent on the truth, I gotta vomit this on somebody. We have to understand, who are we talking to? Sir Sidney Poitier said a very, very important statement. And he said, I give you responsibility. I take that deep. I give you responsibility. So if I have responsibility, I also got responsibility for the truth. Because when I give it and I deliver it, will the person mobilize that thought? And hopefully this challenge you guys will make you look at it in another way. I could be totally wrong, but this is the basis upon the way I live.
Yeah, but you're passionate about it, so.
By the way, guys, Derek, Highly Motivated Laws. I don't know that name, but okay. Derek said this show is better than the Astros game. Keep it up. Good work, guys.
That's actually pretty good.
Yeah, that's pretty good. Thanks, Derek. We appreciate you watching the show, man.
We have to be responsible with our truth. And I do believe that. There's some people that if they heard the truth, suicide can go up. I'm just being honest. I have to be responsible with that truth. How do I educate with truth? Everybody isn't on our level. I may not be on their level. They may be on a level higher than me. So as I come in contact with people, because everybody sitting here is a people person. We deal with people every day. So when I engage somebody, I'm trying to figure out where we're at and where they're at. My dialogue is assigned and attached based on that engagement. Now, if I did give a valid, raw truth, this person may go into their own little personal matrix to make sense of that.
Here's some.
They got to process it. But are they ready to process your truth?
There you go.
That's my point.
You're saying that you're accountable and responsible for what you evaluate as a truth. And when I say something to somebody, I don't necessarily, I just getting to know you guys. And I'm hearing lots of things that tell me that you guys are right up there for whatever reasons, and you can reject my evaluation of you as a person, but when I tell you a truth, I'm not telling you because I know something you don't know, and I'm going to tell you that
Okay.
just to
Okay.
get a rise out of you. I don't do that, and we don't have enough people that do that.
Right, that's correct. We don't
This-
have enough people that do that.
This gets
I agree with
to
that.
the. I've been like killing myself waiting to say this because it's.
Sorry,
this is
interrupt.
Sorry.
No, that's all right. This is the heart of what you were saying, and it's actually what you just said. There's two ancient texts that say, right, that truth is sharper than a double-edged sword, cutting to the very marrow of the bone, right? So that's heavy duty,
That's correct.
right? That gets, I mean, and consequently, double-edged swords, you can seriously jack somebody up,
Exactly.
right?
Exactly.
Now you pair that with this thought that says, speak the truth in love. Right? So it's like, know what the heck you're wielding, right? It can seriously damage and hurt, right? But speak it in love, right? So to hold back truth from someone, I believe, and based on those quotes, is unloving.
I disagree. I thought you were going there, but Brown Bobby said he only gives the truth. He only gives the truth if he owes it, and if he knows that truth. I'm paraphrasing. I'm thinking that if he knows that truth is going to hurt somebody, you can't love somebody and intentionally hurt them.
Or I take that truth and I'm responsible enough with it
Yes.
to love them enough
To not do it.
to take, or to take them through a process.
Right.
Remember I said, how can I leverage it?
Right.
Now, if I'm just going to say, you overweight, you fat, you need to lose some weight after
Dude,
you have a baby.
I-
whatever the case may be.
I was wondering when he was going to get to
I'm
it.
just saying. Or do I turn, oh,
About time.
look at this right. Anyway, so, or do I turn around and say, hey, let's go do this together?
Right.
So the question is being responsible with the truth. That's all I'm saying. Tell it, but be responsible with it. And then you also do have to ask yourself, do I owe? There's some people who said stuff to me, and I sit there and I'm like, boy, Bobby, but I have to talk to myself, right? And then so I have to
go
ask,
to your happy
right.
place.
So, but you know what I'm asking myself?
Right.
A boy from Alabama. So I ask myself, do I owe?
Right.
I have to go through my little Rain Man real quick. Do I owe to give the truth? Because I may be talking to somebody who don't have the capacity to understand
Right.
my
And
truth.
I totally get that. And really, genuinely, it's not like I'm even disagreeing with it, but kind of a different view or angle on the same thought as this.
Uh-huh.
I don't owe anybody anything.
Exactly.
Right?
I disagree with that.
Unto my own
I
self.
disagree with that.
hang
We
on.
owe each other our best.
Hang on.
No,
Unto my
I
own
disagree
self.
with that.
no, that's
Because we are
Hang
not
on.
individuals in this world.
that's
Wait,
one of
wait,
feel
wait.
good. That's one of feel good quotes.
Stop it.
That's
Time
one
out.
of, that's a feel good Google quote.
No.
Joe was being the wine show host here.
Like I was saying, and
Hang on a second. Because I want to hear that point.
I do want to
right?
hear that point.
I do. Don't lose that train of thought. Where I was going with this is that I have an obligation first to be true to myself. Right? Unto thine own self be true. Right? Not to lie to myself, not to create a false narrative in my reality.
agree with
Right?
I get that.
And then, secondly, I do have a responsibility to truth. Right? That's kind of a heavy thought, right?
It actually isn't.
Well,
No, it's
I
every thought. Yeah.
in my world, it's not a heavy thought, but I think people lie to
It's
themselves.
how you mobilize that truth. That's all I'm
Right.
saying.
So check this out. What I'm getting at is that I
Love.
have a responsibility to truth, to share it and speak it all the time, everywhere, in my actions, in my being, with every bit of effort and fiber in my being that I have. I have to do it in a way that it's received.
That's the task.
And hopefully acted on. Right?
And received.
And that's really what you've been saying, right? So that's where I was kind of getting at with I don't owe anybody anything, but what I do believe I owe, the responsibility of truth and this responsibility of sharing that truth in love obligates me to the world.
All right.
You know what I'm saying?
here's
So that's why I wanted to finish my
here's why
point
I
before
want
I...
to show that I agree with that because
at the end of the day, we live in a society. We're not a nomadic people.
No man is an island.
No man is an island, and especially in today's society.
Steam.
And so when we talk about media, here we are with
It is so
Facebook.
interactive,
You know,
it's not even funny.
right, and
You
here-
can't
here
even
we
be
are.
a freaking island if you
No,
want to be.
here we are.
I really want to be an
Facebook,
island sometimes.
the
I'm just
technology
saying.
that we
Never be
have.
Tom
You know,
Hanks on a
as soon as
deserted
you give
island.
your
Right.
opinion, you're going to get. Just give an opinion, no matter how truthful.
Right now, I'm sure somebody's
no matter how
boycotting
truthful
me.
it is, somebody is going to go against that. But at the end
No,
of
it's
the day,
right.
Just for
but-
saying
but-
Brown Bobby.
listen,
Oh, I
at the end
hate
of the
that
day-
white guy. He's KKK. I know
Listen,
it.
we are here. We are a community. We are a society. And what I say, if it's going to be offensive to you, and it's going to affect me, I have to think about that. This is to Bobby's point, Brown Bobby's point. You know, I have to think about that because if I've got a family that I've got to support, and if I know that I'm going to run off at the mouth, and my family is going to be affected by that, I'm going to have to think about that. That's what
Sure.
people do.
Sure.
Unfortunately, I haven't been that smart in my past 47 years, but I'm learning. I'm learning that I got to adjust what I owe to people. But at the end of the day, truth hurts most people. Because most people
Very
lie
true.
to themselves.
Yeah,
because
very
the
true.
media gets
Very
us to
true.
lie to each other. You know, all these false narratives that exist. But at the end of the day, we can look at ourselves and say, you know what? I've got 4 friends, and these are my 4 friends. And I don't give a crap what the other 40 people out there in Facebook media say. I've got 4 friends that are going to be behind me. And then you got something.
But you know what I can respect more?
What's that?
Just as a being myself, what actually gets under my skin more than anything is somebody that wants to force down my throat their truth.
All the time.
Don't
All
you know
the
what?
time.
I mean, because I could tell you my truth, and you know, and that'll put 10 spins on this dialogue. But the thing is get me a general synopsis, right? Have an educated approach to the topic, right? Because what we have to realize in this new social media world, what you say and do can and will be used against you.
Because you think you're safe.
For sure.
You think you're safe by keyboard commandoing on your phone and saying bang, 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 and going,
Facebook warriors.
And I'll
You're
go
not.
Warriors.
Facebook
Facebook
But hey
warriors.
guys, guess
Facebook
what?
warriors.
We came together about an hour ago from diametrically opposed political, social, economic backgrounds, okay? And yet we're going to leave here knowing exactly where everybody stands on things. There is a reasonable determination that we have made through this hour to be able to talk about these things, and the premise of Joe's program that we can come together, we can say something that we believe is a truth, we can debate it, we can discuss it, we can beat it into submission, but at the end of the day, we're going to walk out the door, and next time we get together, we are going to know, based upon the truths about you, about Bobby, about Joe, about me, on our truths. We have just come together and we are now a symbiont unit. We have succeeded where social media has failed. Where if you go out there and I just call you every racist name in the book, okay, that's an untruth. That is somebody venting.
Yep.
And those are the kind of people that I would love to get in here, and you will see a
Oh, that'd be
remarkable.
fantastic.
You would see a remarkable change.
Right.
Just today, and I was talking to Joe about this before the program started, that I was engaged about a specific bill on the state floor that was killed by Republicans. Everybody was just bitch crapping and moaning about how inefficient and deficient this session has been on state business. It's incredible how utterly frustrating it is for somebody like me who understands the process, knows the rules, knows how things work in Austin.
They're dug in.
See,
Well, you know,
Nobody in that body can do what we just did in an hour
and I agree.
Because we're
I'm-
not beholden to anybody.
without
super
without
quick.
ulterior motives.
Super
Yeah.
quick. I'm gonna say this, and then I'm gonna go off screen and grab some more wine because we're out.
Yeah.
And then I'm gonna let y'all share. I'm gonna say it real quick. That's the premise of the show. The whole idea is that, you know what? I said this last week. It was kind of a revelation moment for me in that I read a parenting book a long time ago that basically said, argue in front of your kids. Don't go to your room and hide to have your argument. Have your argument in front of your kid in a rational,
Respectful.
civil, respectful, adult way so that they can learn how to disagree. Because if they don't see you do it, where will they learn?
That's correct.
That's the premise. And for me, I'm like, holy crap, that's this show. America is a little freaking kid who's throwing temper tantrums, who's never seen their parents argue rationally and respectfully, disagreeing.
Because you got
right?
350 million versions of their own truths.
Yes. So,
That's the reality.
they can't come to the table like adults and say, let's disagree. We have differing views. And you know what? I'm not going to belittle you. I'm not going to say, well, you always do this. You never do that. I'm not going to start painting
And
these.
we are so much, really, we are so much better than those people that get paid to do this. Seriously.
Yes.
But
Yes.
we don't mind.
And you know
getting
what?
paid
We
to
don't
do
mind
this.
getting paid, yes, that would be nice.
Just kidding.
You know what?
Mama needs a new pair of shoes, and you know what? That would be really
So I'm gonna
nice
get
of you to do.
Whine, and y'all can finish at this point. We got
There's a
we
statement you made that I
we
was
have
thinking
we
about.
have comments on the screen
Oh,
that says
yeah.
that's real talk. There you go.
There are 150.
America needs this.
To put
America
this back
needs
in a
this.
political sense, there are 150 people that I know. Some of them I know good, some of them I don't know as well. But they could really stand to watch this program and learn a heck of a lot on how to do personal interactions. Because I've always said that it's okay to compromise your politics. It doesn't matter what side of the aisle that you're on. But if you compromise your principles, I would never ask a Democrat, liberal, or whatever progressive, whatever you want to call it, whatever you want to label it. We try not to label. But in this instance, I have to qualify the statement. I would never ask a Democrat, liberal to compromise their principles. Some of those people on my side of the aisle would argue and say something very crass. I'll jump ahead of it and say that Democrats and liberals don't have principles. Okay, well let's argue that point. Let's get a liberal Democrat in here and let's get a Republican conservative and let's go at it, because I just can almost guarantee you it is a truth that when that discussion is over, there is an understanding when you directly talk to people and you get in and you wrap around these ideas, things get done. I hate it
See, this is the funny
when
thing.
when things don't
Screen
get
is
done.
lighting up with
This-
lights,
this-
by the way.
This is the funny thing to me about
I have that effect.
about boxes, right? You know, I grew up an Alabama boy. I moved to Houston 20 years ago. Obviously, an African American.
What?
I know that's right.
I would have
right?
never had him on the show if I
And,
knew that, people. I'm just saying.
Right. And then we started talking about going to get an education, have the opportunity to experience things in life that I don't care what color you are, that I've had the opportunity of seeing, right? And it's, but the boxes. See, you know what a box tells me when we start, saying that we got a conservative prostitute versus a liberal one. Is that you're saying that this is what I believe, and that's it.
Yeah.
And anything you say outside of my box, and it's just, I'm entertained by sometimes a hypocritical country that we exist in, because these boxes, by me saying this is who I am, and then when I come in contact with you, shut up, don't say that to me, I believe nothing you say, I have no empathy, and I'm not listening to anything you're doing. And that's the most entertaining thing to me.
I'm gonna like my own show. I'm gonna like my own show at this point.
Don't give me no more wine. Don't give me no more wine.
No, you're
Cheers
good.
to that point.
Oh, we got to clink on these things. We got to clink on these
After hearing
stuff.
you talk, you're a credit to your race.
I don't know whether I should be offended or not. Should I be offended by that?
There's
How many times you hear that, huh?
Oh, dang.
Oh my
How many
God.
times you hear that?
You look, no joke. I called my dad growing up. I said my dad was Archie Bunker growing up, and he would say things like, "You're not bad for one of your people." Right? I mean, he would say that literally.
Archie Bunker was horrible.
I
didn't realize
I
it
would
at the time,
say that.
Let me tell you something, you people.
but it was horrible.
And I would be there in his presence when he would say something. I was just like mortified as a kid growing up that I had those kind of, and he had no clue he was being racist in that kind of a statement. You're not bad for one of your people.
You grew up hearing things,
But-
and people say things sometimes out of habit, not out of malice.
Yes,
People say
yes.
things out of habit. There's a difference
Yes.
out of habit and out of malice.
Have we all thought
But you
about?
got to
Have
look
we
at
ever?
the truth that they're saying. I mean, even
No,
though
but-
it may offend
but
you,
some-
It may make you cringe. You may say, God, I can't believe he said that.
But sometimes
But-
you didn't even cringe. You just heard it and you went with it because they said it out of habit and you're used to hearing.
That's
these
the thing. I
things.
think a lot of
Yeah.
people just don't even know.
You know, it's,
Well,
but,
and you know
but
what?
as we evolve, we start to take in different dollars. Like, wait a minute, something I heard growing up now offends me. And
Yeah.
like, wait a minute,
Would
why
you feel
why didn't it offend me 30 years? For 30
Yes.
years, why
Would
does it
you
offend
feel
me now?
satisfied? I'll ask the entire round table here. Would you feel
Brown
satis-
table?
Yeah, that's what I heard too. I heard brown table.
Round table.
Wow.
Anyway,
Way to take
would
this a
you-
different
would
direction,
you feel
Steve.
satisfied or benefit from being clever enough to discover that a person talking to you about an issue and they extrude a hypocrisy? I mean, if you say, I just caught you in a lie, or I just caught you in an untruth, or you embellished on something,
Right.
and you get personal satisfaction out of this, but do you say something about it?
Okay, can I
Do you
answer?
keep it
define-
in,
I wanna answer
or
that.
do you let it out and say, you're a
Okay.
hypocrite?
Alright,
or
so I
something
missed-
like
I
that?
missed
I
the
don't
question.
want,
I missed
that,
the
there's
So
people
let
that do
me-
that.
So he's
Go,
saying,
go, go.
in dialogue that you're having with somebody, and all of a sudden they say something that may be untruthful, or and so he,
Untruthful to who? It
that's
might be,
my
it might
point.
be true to them.
That's my point, and that's where I go with the box issue, right? And so as we're sitting down, and if I decide, which I did today, I decided to sit here and give you guys my time.
Mm-hmm.
That was a conscious decision.
We are so humbly
I appreciate
appreciative
that.
of your time.
Whatever.
I'm good. I'm good.
And you know what? And so did you.
Yeah, we
And then
did.
we're giving it to the people that actually are watching. What I'm trying to say is that goes back to that responsibility thing. If I'm sitting in front of somebody and I am a true man of humanity, and my objective is to catapult mankind, and not just for people who look like me, but for everybody, every man and woman and child, right? Then you know what? When I come in contact with somebody, I'm listening to them to figure out where they are at. And if they do say something that I don't agree with, once again, I have to make the decision.
Do I owe them?
Do I owe it to them to correct, redirect,
Right.
or change their belief? And then let's go back to the thing you mentioned earlier about the racist situation. Once again, we're talking about like a tree. If you cut it down, you see all those rings. Do I really believe that I'm going to engage somebody for 30 minutes who's been this way their entire life, who probably know it or don't know it, and I'm going to alter their behavior or thoughts?
You might not alter their behavior, but if you say something
I don't
that
owe
makes
it.
them think.
I don't owe it to them.
You challenged them.
What if you say
I'm
something?
gonna do
not,
that.
Not even to challenge them, but if you say something that makes them think,
Yes.
it does challenge them.
Well,
But
yeah.
you don't go out and challenge them. You just say something that makes them think
It's-
about
it's-
their own beliefs.
It's mental chess.
Right.
Let's just say it. It's
It's
mental
totally-
chess.
it's totally
So
mental
we're going to sit down and I'm going to challenge you via dialogue, and it's mental chess. But then after I start realizing that this is a fight that the dog is not going to hunt, I'm just going to be like, you know what?
Right.
I don't know what to tell you.
Right.
And I digress.
And there's no need to get involved in it.
And I
You know,
digress.
I enjoy, I've been drinking wine for a little while, and I tend to call it a truth serum because when we get involved, after a bottle of
Strawberry
wine,
here,
That's what
Strawberry
happened, that's
Hill,
what
Hills
happened
Farm?
last week. believe me.
after
Yeah.
Strawberry
a
Hill
bottle of
don't count.
wine, and then it sets in.
Strawberry Hill doesn't count. by the way.
People relax. People relax when they're having
Yes.
when they're having the truth.
There's a
serum.
point to
And the
wine
true
being on the
self,
show.
and the true self comes out.
It does.
And so what I love about it is like after you've had the truth serum, then we get into this mental F, that tends to happen, But I didn't say it. I
Yeah,
didn't
you're
say
good,
it. I didn't say it. But we get to really have conversation.
Yeah.
As to the root of what do we really think.
And what you were saying earlier about when people are in their boxes and everything, I was a political science major, and I had a professor pull me aside and told me, you don't debate well. You just sit there and you let people, and I'm kind of like you in the point. And so I told the professor, it depends who I'm talking to. That guy doesn't know what he believes in. What he's saying, he doesn't even know what he's talking about.
He don't believe
He's
it.
not worth
He
your
doesn't,
time.
yeah.
So he's not worth your time.
Whatever
yet.
I'm going to say to
He's a
him,
Jedi. He's
it's
a
not
Jedi.
going to do anything
Right.
because he's going to go back to what he's heard and he has no foundation. So what good does it do for me to try to wipe a foundation that's not even there?
He's a waste of your time.
And it's not I don't want to sound like
Yes.
that. I don't want to sound like that's correct.
That's exactly what Bobby was saying.
That's correct. It's not that it's a waste of my time.
That's
I don't
exactly
care
what
about
White
it.
Bobby was
I
getting
love
at.
it. I love it. I
But
love
there's
it. I'm
yeah,
touched on that
hey,
one.
there's some
I love
people
it.
out there that are talking to you, and it's like they have you on mute on their cell phone. They're only talking to be heard,
Exactly.
and they're trying to phrase their point or their box, and you can tell it from the minute they start talking.
I got
Well, and check it out.
I got a simple question.
Mhm.
You ever met a racist who got self-esteem issues?
Oh, of course.
No.
That's
What
what racist does
I'm
that?
talking about on both sides. I'm talking about in all
Yes.
spectrums.
It's all about self-esteem.
It's all about self-esteem.
If I can put you down,
It's
I'll feel
all
better.
about self-esteem.
I can put. That's why
Think about that.
I talk about you being bald. I talk about your gut. I talk about.
Yeah,
If I
yeah.
can put you down, I feel better.
Exactly.
Alright.
About my baldness, about my gut.
Exactly.
That's just it.
Exactly.
The great thing about this show being an hour
We go back.
is that it's free.
Right.
We don't have to pay if it goes over,
Mhm.
and we can go over if we want to.
Yeah.
So we're going over.
It's my
Deal with
party.
it.
Who was
Right.
the president that,
So-
that said that if you convince a white man that he's better than a black man, that you can rob him, but he won't? There's a president that said it, man. I gotta look up the quote.
President of the company.
No, the United
You
States.
asked me this after
I asked-
two glasses of wine.
I need to look it up, but he said if you can
That's
convince a
the
man,
problem I have.
and it was
I
a
know
white
the
and black
history of
conversation,
having
but
two
if
glasses of
you
wine.
convince a man, maybe one of our viewers could help us, but if you convince a
They're
man
gonna
that he's
Google it.
better than somebody,
That's it.
then you can take the money from him
That's it.
without them complaining. So especially about taxing.
Somebody watching the show, please Google that quote. Let us know. I'm
I'm not
watching
making it up.
I'm watching
That
the feed.
had- you know
All right,
what?
I'm gonna say
The
this.
thing about it, that had to be a turn of the century chief executive that knew P.T. Barnum.
Yeah.
All right.
So
Yeah. Okay.
there's some. My mind's.
So I have a
I'll
question.
think of it next week. So
I have a question. This is something that really bothers me when I see this comment made. It's impossible
Uh-oh.
for a minority to be racist.
Well, that was said on our
Because-
show, wasn't that? Or was it said after the show?
I think it was said after the show.
I want this answer. I
Right.
want this question. I want this one.
It's impossible.
Raise your hand.
It's impossible for a minority to be racist.
I'm like Kermit the Frog. I'm sipping.
Yeah. Sip and tea.
You're
because
looking for
you
the door to
owe
see
your
if Miss
answer?
Piggy's
Do you
gonna
owe
be
your
coming in,
answer?
I
right?
got my
Say
phone.
that again.
Miss
because
Piggy's
they
gonna be coming in.
have
Yeah, catching you.
Exactly.
Yeah.
because they have no system of control to implement
That's interesting.
their racism. Right? In other words,
I
I
like
cannot
it.
be racist if I have no means of oppression. That's the argument.
That is
And I've
that is
seen
bullshit.
it.
I don't think it's a question of
Hang on, I've seen it many
Yeah.
times, not just once
Well-
or twice, but many times.
Well, the
I've had
person-
the comment made to my face.
Okay, so all right. So
It's
hold on.
impossible for a black person
Okay,
to be
so I got it.
racist
So let me take that. There's-
because they have no system of
Okay, so
oppression.
there's several answers to that question, but the first one is whoever asked the question is obviously intellectual because they're looking at it strictly from an intellectual point of view.
They asked the question they already know the answer to, so they were already directing with the question.
No, yeah, that's part of it. Whoever asked the question is an intellectual. And when you start talking about systems, they are correct. They're correct in that realm. However, if, let's say hypothetically, I was a black person, right? And I meet this Vietnamese person. Well, they're a minority, I'm a minority, and we meet this Malaysian person. And to take it a step further, lo and behold, a Mexican gets over Trump's wall, and now we have a Mexican person in the wall.
real
Right,
quick.
right.
There-
Well, hold on, wait. So,
Okay,
no,
go.
so now we have 4 minorities. I can be racist to the other 3. Because if I was born in this country and they weren't, I could say whatever the narratives are that we continue to hear in this country about people, about immigrants, and about people of different races. I can be a racist towards them. I can Google, or if I grew up with the stereotypes of all 3 of the nationalities that I just mentioned, I can be a racist towards them. So yeah, it is possible for me to do that.
My response to that question, and I'm just going to say this is my response to that question.
You owe it to us.
I owe it to you. I choose to.
I'm ready to write you a check.
How much?
At the end of the day, my politically correct response to that question is ignorance does not discriminate.
Hello.
Boom.
And that's it.
Hello.
It doesn't got to be a minority. You could be rich white. Ignorance does not discriminate, and you could be rich and ignorant.
And most people
Right,
are just
right, right,
ignorant.
Yes.
right. And
Most
so,
people are just ignorant.
and that's my
And
statement.
so,
Most people are
while
just
you were
ignorant.
talking and giving your example, you crystallized a thought for me, right? The objection to the idea was that I cannot be racist as a minority if I have no system of oppression, right? And your
The system
example,
exists already.
your example proves the point. The system of oppression is one person to another. That always exists.
Always
Right?
exists.
I don't need to be the majority
Right.
to influence the system as a whole to say, I'm going to be the guy who keeps you down. When you get pulled over because of your skin color, I'm going to pull you over because of your skin color, and I'm going to charge you a certain way. Well, yes, that's a symptom of the
I, as an
oppression.
individual,
But
can
it's
have my own
always
oppression.
exactly. It's always a one-to-one decision.
Yes, sir.
I am not the system. I may reflect the system, but I am not the system. I am an individual who holds a view, and that view is or isn't racist
And to add to
in
that,
its opinion.
I might reflect a system that you are accustomed to. But on the flip side there, I've met many people of your complexion that don't have a shred, and I can honestly say they don't have a shred.
Tan and sexy.
They don't have a shred
that's what it's
of
called.
racism in their mind. They're just they're truly blind to it, and it's like it baffled me growing up because it's like they're oblivious. I thought they're just oblivious, but at the end of the day, they just don't see the world that way. And so when we get into this whole dichotomy of
Because the world don't see them that way.
the world doesn't see them that way,
And so all of a sudden, so we're
It's
sitting
crazy.
here. We're sitting here. So let me give you this story.
you owe it to me.
I owe it to you.
Write the check, cut the check.
And so
Cut the check. How much?
I go again. I go to school. I get my first master's in special education. I go back. I get my second master's in education administration. My wife, when I was married,
I told you it's credit to his people.
right. She also was a school teacher. We both are teaching in Fort Bend County. We leave Alabama. All of a sudden, my son is in 3rd grade. He comes home and he said, "Dad, what is the N-word?" And I looked at him and I said, "Where did you get that from?" And he said, "The kids at school in my class keep calling me that." I said, and my wife looked at me and just kind of did the signal. Like, I said, "Okay, cool." I said, "So?"
This is you.
Yeah.
This
So
is you.
I'm explaining to him, right, as best as I can to a
Right.
3rd grader.
Right,
First thought come to my mind is, why do I have to explain this to my child?
right.
Why do my wife, both of our school teachers, we hard work, we went and got an education, we live in a $250,000 house that we built from the ground up, we were young at the time, why I pay taxes just like everybody else, and we are educators in the system. Why do I have to explain this to my child?
Flip it.
So when I turn around and I have people who don't understand or who don't share empathy, because you just have to worry about the other child calling yours fat or ugly.
Right.
Well, guess what? You could be, because I'm not going to say black, you could be brown, fat, and ugly,
Right.
right? And an N-word.
Right,
You just have a narrow domain of concerns.
right.
Man, I don't have to go bungee jump. I've got excitement every day. I don't need no adrenaline rush. This is a rush.
Can I give another perspective on this?
Let me hear that.
No, man,
Let me hear that.
you are absolutely nailing this discussion. But what I
Terribly
meant by-
wrong.
what I want to do is I want to flip this. Imagine your white son comes up to you and asks you the same damn question. What does the N-word mean? And I'm going, you know what? I would explain to my son I would ask the question to the question. I said, why are you predisposing the condition of the black people in this country? Why are you predisposing this? I don't like it when white people or other races predispose another race. I reject that mindset.
That's what you would say to your 3rd grade son.
My 3rd grade son, I'd probably do it a little bit less down to that grade level. But I would say that's not a very nice thing to wonder about, but I'll explain it to you the best way I can.
And
It's
how
not
would you
some-
explain it?
I would say that's not a
My
very
dad
nice
used to be- it
term.
happened
That's
to me.
not something that's
happened to
denigrating,
me when I was in
that's
fourth grade.
disrespectful.
Okay.
Because, you know, it can come back and bite you years down the road. So that's why I say I don't like at that
Responsibility.
level of trying to explain other people that might be older their predisposition against another race. I
Right, but
don't like
here's
that.
the beauty. Here's the beauty of the difference in the two explanations. You said how you would say it to your third grade son, and he said how he would say it to his third grade son. Well, I have a 14-year-old daughter, and I had to have this conversation with her, right? And so, you know, I'm from Venezuela, and her mom is Puerto Rican. You know, master's, PhD, the works,
Mhm.
right? Caucasian at that.
Credit to her race.
She's a credit to her race.
Yeah.
She is. You know.
Oh, y'all would have cheered for that. Y'all would have cheered that. Y'all would have cheered that from
I'm good on that.
Y'all are funny. Whatever.
So her mom, sandy blonde hair, green eyes. She's a real credit to her race. You know, but she had a PhD and a master's by
That
the
is a
time she was
funny
26,
thing.
right? And so when I hear how you would explain it to your son and how he would explain it to your son, here's what I didn't hear. You're talking about other people. He's talking about his people. So when you say, well, this is a term you use to justify people, when you explain that to your kid, you're also explaining to your kid, this is the way people see us. Us is the operative word. And it's tough to explain that to a kid and have him understand that. And once you start to explain that to your child, you have to do it in such a way that it doesn't affect their self-esteem that you worked hard to give them. Because there are people out there that see you that way, regardless of if they know you or not. They see your color and their assumptions that happen. And whether you're that way or not, that whole, whatever you want to throw at it is lumped upon you, even if no one says anything, because you know it's out there and you hear it. And you see it and you read about it. And so for a child that doesn't quote unquote live up to those negative expectations, for a child that is trying to be positive, knowing that just by the color of their skin, people are thinking that way about her.
It's taught.
That's right.
Hold
and
on,
that's
hold on,
why
let me finish.
okay.
For a child, it's tough. It's tough for a child growing up, but it's even tougher for a parent of color having to explain to your child that there are ignorant people out there. And that everybody is not that way. That's the first thing you got to do, is that everybody is not that way.
Yes.
But
Never
you
dismiss
have-
the way that Bobby
Right.
would educate his third grader.
Right.
I accept that.
But
What
he
I
has to.
reject
It has
is
to
this-
happen.
Is the ability for anybody else to come in and say, you know, well, you know, Johnny, that's something. You know, they have to
Yeah.
dance around. It's like having the sex question
Right,
with your
but
kids.
the
You have
difference
to
here
dance
is,
around this, and that's the
for
problem
every
we have today.
For every, I'm just throwing out a number, and this is not, guys, this is not a statistical fact, but for every 10 experiences that he has, you might have one or two.
Right.
Okay? Because society is programmed to do what he's experienced with. And the great people, the kids that grow up with the friend, they're like, wow, I never heard that. My dad and my mom never talked this way. Dad, you know, what's the
It's
word?
not that I would deny
Yeah.
a child of mine or anybody else's
Right.
the ability to experience and understand the dynamic here. It's this symbiont relationship. We're all humans.
Right.
I reject the social pariah it is to discuss these things,
Right.
and it's we are damn lucky to be able to have this conversation right now, because I didn't really
Amen.
get a chance to really
Amen.
complete my thought, but you kind of bookended it for me, and I appreciate that. It's just, you know,
It's the
it's
wine,
not
blame
that
it on the wine.
yeah, we're the truth serum. We bookend these conversations in that I value them more than anybody here or out there would ever see.
Yeah.
And I'm very humble about that ability to think past and around the social issues and how it has been so screwed up for the last 30, 40 years, that where we had some congruence, where we had a lessening of the ability to really rile people up
Right.
on this issue. I absolutely reject all the
But I
BS that
think
was
what
going on with
people-
Trayvon Martin, all the stuff. The fact is, somebody died, and it was an awful thing to happen. And I want to find out, because you know the facts around that have been so discombobulated. It's hard for people that don't know how to think outside the box to
Right.
come to these conclusions that I don't think it really was a race. Trayvon Martin could have encountered anybody, could have encountered
Right.
another black man,
Right.
and the same situation
also,
could have happened.
But also, it could also have been just
Shoulda, coulda, woulda.
one ignorant person.
Yes.
It could have been that. It could have been that.
We
But
all-
hold on. But it could have been that. But what I don't want people to misunderstand is that, look, I'm also a poli-sci major from the University of Texas, Hook'em Horns, right? But here's
Man,
the
roll
thing.
tide.
Come on, boy.
Yeah,
You're just an Alabama boy.
Hey, get Maggie.
Send a check, and whoever
Now
sends
you
a
really,
check,
now you really hate me.
No, so what?
Whoever sends a
what-
check
what
is
I
the
want,
winner.
What I want people to realize is this country has made tremendous strides in many ways, And what happens is people start
And that's
talking,
your truth.
and the media starts talking about racism when they have one thing that is just inflammatory, and everybody believes that's the reality of the whole world.
You see it
You know,
every
and I
single time.
categorically reject that, because if that was the truth, you wouldn't be here right now. I wouldn't be here right now. We wouldn't have this opportunity. You wouldn't be as successful in your business. I wouldn't be as successful in mine. At the end of the day, yes, you have some fools that buy into the
That's
racism.
exactly
You
it.
have
We
some
have a
fools.
lot of
They are
fools.
nowhere near
No,
the majority.
No.
You think they're majority?
Let me say this here.
Huh?
They're
They're the majority?
Fair, but let me say this here. The opportunity I had,
You created,
I was armed, I was conditioned, I was taught by my parent
right?
how to deal with that,
Right.
how to counter it, right?
Right.
I was taught. See, it's just no different from your daughter getting bullied or your son getting bullied.
Right.
How do you teach them how to deal with that? Do you say, take this gun and he do that again, you got my permission to pop him? Or do you turn around and teach him how to deal with that? I had to be taught how to deal with racism.
That's not what I was talking about. That's not what I was talking about. What I was talking about.
No, we saying as far as me being where I'm at.
No. Let me explain that, because you're right. You're right to hear whatever you heard. You're right to hear that.
Mhm.
But if this were the '60s,
Uh-huh.
we couldn't
I-
own businesses in Texas.
It doesn't have
We
to be.
we didn't have.
I can own it in third ward.
We didn't have. Right. You were in certain areas. You were just boxed in, like you talked about earlier.
I get it.
But we don't have those constraints now.
I get it.
Right.
The constraint is mental now.
Exactly.
It's a jail without bars now.
Bingo.
It's a jail without
Bingo.
bars. So, but it goes back to my
The
point.
constraint is mental.
I was never taught oppression.
Right.
My parents never taught me that.
Right.
You see what I'm saying? I was taught free from day one.
Right.
There's some people walking around with a jail box on their shoulders.
Right.
But they,
And actually, I don't care what color they are.
Right.
Yeah,
Some of the most-
that's
some of-
very true.
some
but
of the most-
unfortunately, they're mostly our color.
That's your truth.
That's the truth.
And I just say if that's your truth.
But people have those mental
Yeah.
I
shackles
get
in
it,
their head.
and I get it. I'm not saying that I don't
That's right.
disagree.
Okay?
I don't
They
say
have
that
the
I don't
mental
disagree.
shackles in their head.
Everything comes down is if that's your truth, if that's what you believe, you like it, I love it. But
If
I
you-
agree with your point.
If you use this as a crutch,
Right.
you're always going to be on that
That's
crutch,
it.
and you're never going to get up and
That's
walk
it.
speed or
That's
run.
it. I'm not saying the system is the way it is, but that doesn't mean that you have to have that mental crutch. Go
True,
out and
true,
be a
true.
badass if you think you're a badass.
True,
Go out
true.
and do it.
True.
Right? Go out
And
and do it.
and I'm gonna tell you, and you're right. And just because you attempt to act oblivious to it,
Right.
don't mean that it doesn't exist.
That's a difference, though.
That's-
That's a
Right,
difference.
right, right.
That's a
It's just
difference.
that I choose to not acknowledge that.
Right.
And back to what you were saying earlier, because
Mhm.
I'm on the other side of that spectrum.
Uh-uh.
I'm 31,
Mhm.
and I've had that talk with my parents, just like you've had to have with your son.
Your
Your
parents
dad.
are black?
No, my parents are white,
Okay,
but I'm saying I'm on the other side of this.
His parents are both
And I'm going to
Nigerian.
agree with you
I know that very
100%
well.
because you're having an emotional and a that's a hard conversation.
I mean, you go here to here real quick.
Yeah, that's a hard conversation.
Yeah,
You think it was like that with my dad?
Yeah.
No.
That's part of
Yeah,
what I
yeah.
was
You think when I asked my dad what the N word was that he had all those feelings?
Yeah.
You know what he
Right.
told? You know what he told? I'm 31. I think I can remember what I was told about that word. That's a bad word. Don't use it.
Yeah. Yes.
We
Where
were
is
in the
that?
play-
Wait,
we
where
were
is
in the
that?
playground.
But that's
So
what I'm saying.
you
Where is
guys
that?
are
Wait,
about my age.
it's not there.
But then in the playground at school, we used to throw the N word around all the time, whether or not there was a person of that ethnicity out there or not.
Oh yeah.
And I was kind of, I think I'm a little bit above average in IQ, being able to figure out problems. That's what
And
IQ
that's your
is.
truth.
It's not an intelligence. And it's not, you know, I like to be able
Now
to.
I know when you say it, it ain't a compliment.
One of the things I wanted to really try is to try to
I see
duplicate
you. I see you.
some of that ability to figure a way around what is a problem,
Right.
whether it's a real problem or it's something that's concocted or engineered. You know, if we had someone like what's Quantilex,
Mm-hmm.
that's the guy that I've had a
That guy's
little
an
interaction with,
Mm-hmm.
and you know what? He could sit there and at the end of an hour conversation, we would walk away saying, okay, we came to some kind of, I don't know what's the word, detente or
And
some
he's
kind
not
of
an idiot.
and okay,
I know,
but
it's
you
a
get him in front of a camera,
Right. And he's an idiot.
and boy, he
He's
is
an
just,
idiot.
oh man,
Yeah,
But
he is
one-on-one,
an
no,
idiot.
he's not an idiot. He's far from an idiot.
And I look at
He's smart. He knows
the
what he's
people
doing.
that
Right.
exploit. There's people
I'm
that
joking.
exploit the
I'm
problem
We
to
got-
benefit
I'm
themselves.
being
That's
contentious
their
on
truth.
purpose.
They feel like they have to get into the middle of every cotton picking,
That's,
anything that has to do with race,
that's
and
not-
then
not a good
everybody pays
analogy.
attention to them. Well, hey, you know what? Why don't we pay attention to you guys? Why don't they pay attention to us for a change?
Right.
But
So-
And then, you know what? They're
I've
going
been
to find
quiet.
out. They're going to find out that it's
We've gone for
not
about 30
as
minutes.
bad
I've been
as it
quiet
is.
for a long time.
which is
Yeah,
unusual,
yeah.
by the way.
Yeah, it's very unusual.
Well, you've been watching
Right.
your phone.
I'm
So.
watching the feed. We've got great comments. People
Right.
are appreciating the comments and the show.
We're doing.
And that's freaking everything I wanted from this show. People are feeling what we're trying to accomplish. When my kids ask me the question has to be answered long before it's asked. All right?
The answer.
Here's the thing.
The answer.
When it was approached in my house, and it was approached differently, right? About, in essence, why are people this way, right? Because my kids never said it and they've never heard it, right? The question was answered for them long prior. So there are people, unfortunately, who believe that the level of a chemical in your skin called melanin somehow dictates character, intelligence,
The box.
anything else.
Athletic ability.
It's utterly ridiculous.
Becomes a box.
All right?
That's what I mean by reject.
And then I point out, remember the Lucases? We've been to their house, we had dinner with, who are killing it. Highly successful. Their kids, highly successful. Who are just awesome people, who we've been to their church, everything else. Yeah, those guys utterly decimate the idea that the level of some skin color thing dictates anything to do with character. And they're like, yeah,
They're my
right?
friends.
Yeah, they're my friends. I don't have black friends. I just have friends,
Yeah.
right? Some of them happen to be black, right?
They're brown.
It's brown. I've never really had a black friend.
Yeah.
I've had some significantly dark friends.
Yeah. Dark brown.
Dark brown.
There you go.
Dark brown.
Oh, I see.
Right.
I see some Nigerians, some
Yeah, no,
Ghanaians that are
yeah.
ebony.
I've had some significantly dark
Off the
friends.
cuff, you would think he's a black man.
Right.
He's Hispanic.
Right.
He's a
Right.
brown man.
Right.
I'm a brown
Right.
man.
Right.
But in America, I'm a black man. I'm okay with that.
Yeah.
I'm okay with that.
It's such a thing. So I said the question has to be answered in advance, and it doesn't matter what color you are. If you're black, brown, third grader. There we go. I finally got to the term. If your brown third grader comes to you and says, "What does the N-word mean?" You have to have answered that question already. All right. My kids coming to me and asking me the same question from a completely different dynamic, ask me that question, and I point to our life and say, that question from the point that you're answering has no bearing and has no meaning in my life. And here's why.
And you know what?
Let's
Yeah.
point to my friends. Let's point to my circle.
True.
And that is our truth.
True. Now, in growing up with my kids at that stage of our lives, right? Diverse lifestyle, very diverse lifestyle. So we lived a diverse lifestyle. We had different friends. So did my mom and dad. When I was in the 4th grade, and it happened to me. So let me show you with you guys real quick. I'm in the 4th grade, it happened to me. Classic spot where it always happens. Where? PE. Playground. And I can tell you the
Where
first
you're
thing.
obviously demonstrating your superiority.
You see that, right? I was the fastest. And I was jumping high.
Are you trying to say that we're the ones that
And
don't
guess what? And it pissed him the hell off.
Oh, there you go. Yeah.
And all I gotta do is say his
I like
name.
the reverse racism.
Hey, and all I gotta do is say his name, Scott. So, his name was Scott. Bobby. Okay. So, we out here.
I made
And
myself
Scott,
cry. I laughed so hard.
Scott just all of a sudden just said, well, you could just tell your mama to come to my house and clean up our house. I looked, and all of a sudden, everything on my face turned red. My eyes just turned red. Next thing you know, I was on his arm, and all my whole rack was inside his arm.
Oh,
we had stitches, yeah.
Wow.
You mean grill?
I bit him extremely hard.
Oh, dang.
And so,
you bit him?
So your parents hadn't had the conversation.
and my mom worked at the school. So let me say that. And I'm a good kid. I want you guys to hear this out.
I
Good
can
kid.
hear. It looks like you were.
So all of a sudden I get to the office. We get mounted to the office. Scott's he's literally bleeding because I gave it to him. So we get to the office and I'm like, shoot, yeah, yeah. I bet you won't say that again. And so all of a sudden we get here and the principal who knows me, knows my mother. You know, I'm the guy who never missed a day of school, all S's in conduct, great, all A's.
But you obviously missed lunch
But
that day.
all of a sudden, I'm in trouble. So, because of what he called my mother, the N-word. So all of a sudden, my mom was like, wow, can I talk to my son for a second? Now, this is back in the day where you get what? Paddles.
Right.
Oh, yeah.
Now,
Right.
this is what's about to happen. They're going to suspend you, and you're going to get a paddle. Are you okay with that? My response was, I'm okay. I got Scott. So, everything was fine. Not knowing that my mom, I took my 2 licks. I was good with it. Scott was well-to-do. His family was pissed off.
Right.
But once they found out what Scott said, then, oh, you know what? Grab out of here. You're getting out of here. But the lesson was when I got home. Not realizing that my mother called my father and said, this is what happened. I need you to talk to your son.
Right.
I get home. My dad's on the couch. He has his newspaper. He said, hey, son, how you doing? How's everything going? I'm like, hey, Dad. And how's your day? I said, it was a good day, Dad, but I got in trouble. Well, you in trouble? I never get in trouble. You in trouble? I said, yeah. Dad, a guy called my mama N-word. I'm thinking Dad gonna get on my side.
Right.
My dad sat back, he kept his composure, he crossed his leg, and he said, but you're suspended for 2 days. That was his response. So you're gonna be kept away from your academics for 2 days because you got upset. Because somebody called you this word.
What grade was that?
I was in the 4th.
Fourth grade?
4th grade. So my father said, sit down on the couch right now. Would you sit right here. And you know what my father told me? Won't be the last time you be called this word. But this is what we're going to do when you call that word again. 4th grade. He said, you got all A's, don't you? I said, yes, sir. He said, you're a pretty good kid, right? I said, yeah. He said, you got all S's in conduct, right? I said, yes, sir. He said, okay, so this is what we're going to do. I need you to keep those grades where they're at. I need you to keep your conduct perfect. Never get in trouble again. Be the awesome kid that you are. Because you're going to be called that word again. And this is what I need you to do. I said, okay. He said, when you get called that word again, I need you to laugh your ass off.
Amen.
Yep.
And he said, I need you to laugh I need you to overkill. I need you to overkill.
Right.
Point your finger at it.
Until they ask you, what's so goddamn funny?
Right.
And the minute they ask you what's funny, you say, my grades are better than yours. My conduct better than yours. I'm this, that better than you.
Right.
And I'm the N. You ain't nothing but an N's bitch. I looked at my father and I said,
Daddy said that to you?
I can say that.
I can say that?
You were happy.
Why the hell did it take 4 years? I went back to school armed, ready for somebody to say it again, because my dad just armed me
You were looking.
on how to counter it. He empowered me to I keep my grades up. I gotta keep
But
my
they
A's.
also told you need to keep your A's.
I gotta keep my A's up. Keep your A's, keep your conduct. You gotta be better. You gotta be better. You gotta be better.
Be better.
So when it happens again, you can say it.
So
And then it happened in the 8th grade. Where again? PE.
Right. But then here's
He wasn't
also
the same guy.
But then here's
Wasn't
also
the
the
same guy.
difference though in the mentality, because I don't have your same story,
Mhm.
but I grew up with my parents telling me,
you gotta be better. Did your parents grow up telling, did you grow up with your parents telling you had to be better than anybody else? Did you grow up with your parents telling you that you had to be better?
Better.
No.
Did you grow up with that? See, that's a different
I don't know.
pressure.
I don't know a black family who hadn't been told that.
That's a different pressure.
I don't know anybody
so
who hasn't
for
been
my
told that.
friends that are
Of color.
successful, we grew up hearing the same thing. To even be considered an equal, you had to be
better. To be equal.
That's a difference.
That's the struggle.
That's a
That's
difference.
the
That's what I was
struggle.
getting at.
That's a
earlier.
difference that you guys
Even though
don't
my parents did
understand that
not,
we grew
my
up
parents
with.
did never
You know?
really hammer that form of excellence.
Didn't
because
have to.
They didn't have, well, if they didn't have to.
No, they didn't
then
have to.
why?
You're not black. They didn't have to.
I don't think it had anything to do with
And
race.
that's where we disagree. Our parents knew that they had to arm us,
So-
arm us, not
So
arm ass.
I'll say. I'm
Arm us
I'm
with that.
gonna help
Arm
you.
us with
I'm
that
gonna say
so
this
we
way.
can-
I'm gonna say
we
this
can
way.
succeed.
Every day
No, I
I
see
had.
what you're
Every day
saying.
I had to walk out of the house.
Mhm.
You know what my mother had to saturate me with? I'm a bucket. And every day she's pouring pounds and gallons of confidence because she know the world gonna poke holes in her black baby every day he walks out the house. Every day. And so as these holes get poked and people have their boxes about me. Their boxes about me. So here's my analogy. It's like playing poker and we're sitting at the table and you know what I got?
Poker face,
You
brother.
sitting at the
Poker
table
face.
asking me saying, you don't deserve to be at this table. So you know what ends up happening? Okay, let me show you my hand. And then I gotta turn back around and beat you.
It's a different mindset.
It's a mindset.
It's a different mindset.
It's a mindset.
And I share that mindset.
And I don't think either one of us are victims.
You know?
No, and that's
No, you're
exactly,
not.
and that's exactly where I was gonna go with that.
I was born in Venezuela. My father's from Trinidad.
I'm not a victim.
But my dad taught me when we came here in the 70s, that mindset.
Yeah.
Let me ask you a question. This to me is a pretty heavy thought. Hearing this.
Wine makes it lighter.
Thinking it through. I think the world around us does this very thing, no matter your skin color.
Say that again.
The world around you does the very same thing.
I think the world around us, where, in
It
other
does,
words,
but we live in America, so we're focused on America right now. This
Yeah,
happens,
right,
he's
right.
right. This happens all over the world.
Well,
it
wait.
happens between the
We
Scottish
have, we
and
have
the
gone
British.
worldwide.
well, no, wait, and not race. Take race out of it. I think the world around us, you see it with success. You see it as soon as a person's. The thing that drives me most crazy in the black community,
But you know,
Yes.
Scottish and British
Brown.
not
in-
race.
Brown.
in the brown community, when somebody's successful, they've sold out and they're just Uncle Toms. I'm like, wait.
No, I'm
But
Uncle
hang
Carmelo.
on,
I'm
hang
Uncle
on.
Carmelo. I reject that. I'm Uncle Carmelo.
All right, hang on.
Not
No,
Tom.
you're
Uncle
going,
Bobby.
you're going me. is what
Uncle
you're doing.
Bobby.
You
Hang on.
reject it.
I
Hang on.
reject it.
Right.
They've sold out their Uncle Toms
Right, you hear that?
because they speak the language like an educated person, and now they're just trying to be white,
Right.
right? I'm like, what the hell is up
It's
with that
already-
thinking, right? So hang on. So my point is, I think the world in general does this, right? You guys deal with it because of melanin, right? But it's no different. Poverty mindset is the same, whether the skin color is white, black, or indifferent.
We don't
right?
deal with it. We don't deal with it because of melanin.
Only if you're talking about poverty, but this wasn't about a poverty situation.
No, I'm saying poverty mindset.
We
I'm
don't-
saying poor thinking.
But we don't.
Poor thinking keeps you from
Yeah.
intellectual success.
Yeah.
Keeps you
That is
from.
correct.
And I want to hear
Right.
Bobby's thought, but I gotta say this here is that it has nothing to do with the melanin. It has everything to do with sold perception. Everything to do with sold perception.
I think you're making my point.
So
This
anytime
is
I walk
what I'm
up
saying.
and somebody encounters me who is not in this sexy brown ass skin, what happens
It
is
is sexy.
what happens is that right. What happens is that they're
Steve
going.
has been controlling himself this
Right,
whole time.
right.
I mean, it's
said,
impressive.
I don't
It's
know.
not a frustration control. I mean, I'm loving this discussion. I just wish I could.
What happens is I
get my 2
walk
cents
up,
in.
and my presence, the person is trying to digest and put me in their box.
Right,
Hold up,
right,
not for me,
right.
but
No,
for
for them.
themselves.
Exactly.
And so, if you were to just deal with me for me, we're in China where everybody looks the same. The only thing you can have there is classism. But all of a sudden, we go to what he just mentioned. We're in America and it's empty. But have you realized that some of the most progressive people and cities in these United States are the most diverse. California, Florida, Houston, New York.
Right.
The most progressive cities in this country are in heavily diverse cities. Bobby, please share your thoughts, because I may want to
You gotta leave me right after
Boy,
that.
he was
All right,
just
no,
no.
just to say real quick,
Yeah.
you get the floor. I'm just gonna conclude with this. We've got to wrap up the show. We're like,
Yeah.
Carmel's got to go.
2
We're
hours.
way over. It's like 2 hours. It's all right. We're discussing freaking important stuff here. And you know what? The audience is confirming it, right?
Awesome.
People are thumbs up in it like crazy.
Awesome.
Share it, guys. This is dialogue that America needs to hear. So, on that, Bobby's going to wrap up. We're going to conclude the show. After that, I'll tell you about the show, and we're going to take it home.
All right, you got the last one.
Well,
No pressure.
all I was gonna say, what we were getting back at, is we were talking, is he's already said it, is about where the idea of the racism comes from. It's an insecurity.
It's insecurity.
Absolutely.
It's insecurity. No matter where you trace it back from, no matter where you get, you said it happens in Ireland, it happens all over the world. It's an insecurity. It's an insecurity from the very beginning and from the very heart of it, is to make yourself, even Scott, you said his name, Scott, he was insecure. You were better than him at whatever y'all were doing. And then your dad reminded you, continue to be better than him, because that's why Scott doesn't like you. Scott's insecure. And that's where it starts. And I think that's what you were trying to say about melatonin or skin color. And
Doesn't
in
matter.
America, sadly,
That's the thing.
The insecurity, and I looked up, it's Lyndon Johnson that said that quote I said earlier. Not that that matters, but it didn't come from here. It came from somewhere else.
You worked it back in.
I worked it back in, but it's an insecurity, and sadly in America, it does. In fact, the insecurities don't affect me,
Right.
like they do affect other people.
Right.
And so that's all I was going to say. When we were getting back at that, I felt like about an hour ago you said that, and that literally is the answer right there.
It's insecurity.
I think it's fantastic that his dad taught his son, a 10-year-old boy, responsibility. You need to own it, get ahead of it,
Hell yeah.
and be the better person.
And
Be
look
the
what you
bigger
did.
person in the
You
argument.
have to first be the better person.
Yeah.
And you know what?
That's it. Be the better.
If you're not the better person, you might be right.
Yeah.
And you know what? You're facing that because of your skin tone, right? Doesn't matter. He may be facing it because of a name. You're just successful because you're from the Beasley family and they're successful. Whatever. The world, my point is, the world around you will constantly hate on you, regardless. As soon as they see you striving outside of the pack, excelling, achieving, doing anything above the norm, the world's going to hate on you.
Where do you think Uncle Tom came from? Insecurity.
Exactly.
Exactly.
That's my point.
Exactly.
And so you face it on a more regular basis because it's an easier target, right? But if we don't equip our kids to deal with it, regardless of skin tone, success mindset is very different than poverty mindset. And poverty mindset is what is the norm,
Exactly.
regardless of skin tone.
And I'll say my closing statement is, even like when I make the statement, and Carmela echoed the sentiments of, the parents are teaching you, you got to be better, you got to be better. I tell people, don't be so goddamn literal. Like, take things in context. Listen to people. Practice empathy. And I mean, if you're going to spend your time, because I had one of my mentors say to me, Carmelo, and I was late. And you know what? I walked up to him and I said, I apologize, I'm so sorry, I didn't mean to be late, I didn't mean to waste your time. And he looked at me with some very keen, deep eyes. And I looked, I said, why is he looking at me that way? And he said, Bob, I want to ask you a question. Who do you think gave you the power to waste my time? I gave it to you. What you decide to do with it is on you. You can never waste my time. Most profound thing I've ever heard. So when I said earlier, I chose to come here on a Friday evening and give my time to be a part of this dialogue. Maybe it would touch some people. Maybe some of us here will walk away with that. But the thing is don't be so damn literal. Pay attention to what somebody's saying and get your agenda out of the way. Your agenda and your manipulation is what stifles the creativity of two people, like you said, coming together and having an understanding. It might be our engagement that opens you up to a brown world.
Oh, yeah. All right.
I'm going to drink to that.
Cheers. Empty glass. It's all right. Cheers.
You gotta love it, man.
I got some drops in there.
Got some drops in
Guys,
there.
we want to thank y'all for tuning in. Shows went way over. Who the hell cares? It's our prerogative. All right? Like
Bobby Brown.
You like how I tied that in? I've been waiting to say that. It's my prerogative. It's my show. I can run over if I want to. All right. Thank y'all for tuning in. It's been a great show. This is, to me, what heals America, right? Share it. Be a part of it. Be on the show. I can't stress enough how important I think it is that America needs this message. And Steve seems like he's just chomping at the bit to share one last thought
We
here.
don't need to forget that we need to rate the wine.
Yes!
Oh.
Yes! Holy cow!
That's why you get me here to do
Good
this.
point,
keep,
Steve.
Keep the
Good point, Steve. Thank
Angel,
you.
Angel Cortez, I'm
Chili
sorry for
wine.
using GD.
Yep. Angel's a solid guy. He's going to be on next week.
Sorry for using GD, Angel.
All right. And he had a lot of great stuff to say about the show and comments and everything else.
Yeah,
right?
thank you everybody that commented.
Yeah, thank you everybody that's commented. Please share and like the show. WhineNoWine.com. Massively important. Really appreciate it. Get the message out. America needs to hear it. If you ask me, I think that's a big deal. All right. If you want to be on the show, go to WhineNoWine.com. Drop your name in the hat. I'll get you booked for the show. It's kind of a one-man show right now. I've got some great help. Bobby here is running the camera most of the time behind the scenes, unless he feels utterly compelled, and then he'll just jump on the set, and we can't even stop it. So, if you want to be a part of the show,
You couldn't stop him.
right, like and comment. We appreciate it, guys. All right, so we're going to go around and ask 1 to 5 grapes. How do we rate the wine today? Los Vascos. I don't even know if the camera can see it. Los Vascos. Great wine. If you would like to enjoy the wine, hit me up. I'll tell you about it. Bobby,
Yes,
1 to 5 stars, or 1 to 5 grapes.
You know, it was, I'm a wine connoisseur. I love a full body wine. It was smooth. It was full body. I'll give it a 4.5.
Very good, very good.
I'm going to go 4 because I liked it. It was better than last week, and honestly, this is what really makes the show good. So I would buy it. So I'm going to give it a good solid 4, and tossing it to you.
All right. Los Vascos, I've actually had it before. It's one of my favorites, so I'm kind of biased. Chilean wines, they make freaking great wines down there. That's probably racist. I probably just pissed somebody off.
You can't say freaking.
Oh, my bad. Sorry.
Is that the F word?
Great wine. I definitely give it a 4.5 since we're throwing in half grape ratings. I'm down with a 4.5 on this one.
I thought it was a very good wine for the show. For me, I've got to give it a 4, and that was stretching it because
Okay,
I
that's
thought
fair.
the wine was a little light for Cabernet. It had a good finish, but
He's a wine
it was
snob, I should point out.
It was a bit much on the fruit forwardness. I wasn't expecting that.
It has a lot of, there's a black cherry, even a hint of strawberry in this one. It definitely has a fruity,
Yeah, it was a little more fruity
impact.
than
Yep.
than I like
Yep.
for a Cabernet.
Yep.
Right.
And that was on the
so-
front end, right?
and
And then as it finished, it just was good.
No, I had it throughout. I had it on the front end, and as I.
I guess for me it really depends. It's got a black raspberry, cherry, and a hint of strawberry. It's a very fruity thing. So if you like a fruitier wine,
Right.
it's going to be good.
So for me, I gave it a 4. So
That's solid.
If it is solid, it could be an everyday drinker. It's a wine that I wouldn't mind pulling out. Just for myself, if I have a couple glasses, I'm not gonna get mad if I don't finish the last 2 glasses.
Yeah.
Right? But at the same time, it's a glass that I can pull out with friends or whatnot,
Absolutely.
or I can buy it by the case. So it's a solid wine. It's a solid wine.
Yeah.
I enjoy it. I mean, there's an empty bottle.
Yep,
So
that's true.
that speaks volumes.
Bob.
I'm gonna give it a 3.5, and it's nothing against the wine.
Ah,
I wasn't planning on being on the show, so I was going with the box wine before I came on camera. I was in my second glass.
It was different.
I was in my second glass of box wine. It already was on my
the second
tongue.
week that's popped up.
So I jumped from the box wine back to this wine.
Let's try the
Yeah.
box.
Yeah, so
Try the
there we go.
box. All
So I
right.
jumped from the box wine back to this wine, so it's not fair. So
Yeah,
it's
yeah,
an
yeah.
inconclusive grade.
Okay.
And then we ran out, and I jumped back to box wine. So I don't consider
I
it
have to
fair
point
score.
out that this is very politically incorrect. Whine